So what's your thoughts then on Beyond Meat? Yeah, you already talked about it a little here, but what would be your bull case on them, right? It's perfect, considering that their logo is a bull too, right? So what's your bull case on them?
I think with Beyond Meat, you're in a total different ball game to what you are with Tattooed Chef. I think you are talking about a market leader to start with. You are talking about a company that is now getting very well developed in the US, but is now on the international expansion.
Mm.
And naturally, what you're seeing now in Beyond Meat is that the US is kind of getting a lot more dominated by Beyond Meat. So then you're having a bit more of a growth slowdown on the US side of it. But now you have the expansion into Europe and also China,
Exactly.
which is going to be absolutely huge. And then also considering that you've got at the moment, even though it's kind of been on a good run recently, you're having the company on a massive share price drop. And that share price drop was because of the CV situation that we had, where the food service part of the company was totally shut off.
Mm.
And what's going to happen over the next 12 months, the food service side of the company will start recovering.
Exactly.
And the rate they were putting on that food service side of the company were really impressive, especially in Europe.
Yeah.
The Europe numbers are fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I think what you'll have over the next 12 months is the food service part of the company recovering. That will then show in the earnings over the next kind of couple of periods, especially with the brand deals they've signed as well,
Yeah.
which are massive, massive brand deals. And you'll just see people realize, oh, actually, this company's still a really good company.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, do you have like a bear case for them? Because yeah, as you mentioned, they had a really bad year, but I don't think, I keep wondering why people are so surprised about that, and analysts were super negative. I mean, it's the pandemic, right? And if you compare it to then Tattoo Chef, well, obviously Tattoo Chef and another company that we cover a lot here, people want a question about that from you later about the Very Good Food Company, but is that they're not in restaurants in the same way, especially not the Tattoo Chef right now, right? So obviously they won't be hit by a pandemic. It's actually more perfectly situated that when people are staying home, having frozen food is amazing, right? It's a perfect opportunity there. But I think the revenue down the line for Beyond Meat is at least 50%, if not more, from the restaurant business, right? So obviously if that shuts down on an international scale, it's going to hit them really hard, right? So what's the surprise there? And
It's just amazing, isn't it, how short term some people can be,
yeah,
especially analysts at Wall Street, how short term people can overlook a company and
yeah,
not realize this is a short term thing. This
yeah,
is not going to affect the company in the
exactly.
next 12, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. This is just a short term blip, and you're getting a share price that's massively sold off. And it's just crazy. It's crazy how people overlook things like this, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the same. I actually came out with a video about Beyond just a few days ago regarding that. What kind of, if you should go investing in Oatly or in Beyond Meat. And then the Beyond Meat bear case there was that they had a really bad Q1 report, which they did, obviously, but not as bad as I think they talked about. But I mean, they were expecting 113 million. They got 108. I mean, boohoo, 5 million, but whatever. And then she said like, well, the Q1, the restaurants are open, so why did they still have an issue? I'm not sure that's actually the case, that the first 3 months of this year, I don't think most restaurants were open that much. And also,
Mhm.
there's another thing that I don't think people think about. They talk about that a lot in debates, is that I think people now, of over 1 year of the pandemic, that this fear of actually moving out again and going to restaurants, I don't think it's just disappeared, especially not in January, February, and March. I don't think that disappeared then. So I think that's probably going to take time, especially from that
Yeah.
time period, before people start moving out. So I don't think that's a fair comparison, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Like people don't realize that it's going to be a slow kind of rise from where we were at. Like it's not going to be like, oh, restaurants are open, everyone's going to go out, every restaurant's full up now.
Mm.
Like it's going to be a slow build up.
Yeah.
But the thing as well is like what we have now is we have numbers that are so poor for Beyond Meat to beat in the next 12 months
Yeah.
that it's actually going to be quite achievable for them to like carry on growing and like, oh, this is quite impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think that sometimes people can overlook what's going on and not realize that it might, like, I agree with you. Like, sure, it's getting a bit more normality, but it's not going to be all right. Next quarter is we've gone from, pandemic to normality. That's not
Yes.
going to happen. It's going to be a
No,
bit of a slow
obviously.
process. But
Eh,
we saw that what the guidance was given is that the guidance went from last quarter, which was like 10% revenue growth, to this quarter, which is now 30%.
yeah.
And sure, we're going into the summer season, but we had the summer season last season, but we are getting a bit more normality on the food service side of it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I think also the interesting part, I'm not sure, have you seen the podcast, the All In, with these four really rich guys, Shamat
Uh-huh.
Palahapitiya? I'm not sure if you heard of Shamat. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, the SPAC king, right?
yeah, yeah.
So he's part of that. They come out with a show or a video every week. So he's a
Right.
billionaire, and I think some of them are either billionaires or like really high up on the millionaire scale. And so they give their opinions on society, what they see, and I actually find it really interesting, because I mean it's the name of the game in their area to understand what's going on, right? So you know how to invest properly, right? So,
Yeah.
and I think it was Shamat or some of those guys there that they talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that in the US, anyways, it's crazy what's going on when it comes to people being still scared. First of all, when the pandemic hit, people were still like negative. Nah, it's not really happening. We don't want to wear masks or anything. Now, when it's been going on for that long, that's become part of their culture and their idea. The fear is still there. So
Yeah.
people are refusing to take off the masks, right? And even the president, Biden, I saw him on the news not long ago. He's still every now and then using masks, and according to them, that this is their opinion. But they usually talk about what's science based, not about what you feel, right? Because emotions and science doesn't always go hand to hand. Same with investing, right? But
Yeah.
but basically, if the science is saying that if you've taken the vaccines, and a large part of the U.S. has been taking the vaccines, especially two ones, right? You're basically protected. It's like about 95% protection. So, I mean, we
Hmm.
can't get better numbers than that, right? So,
Exactly.
but people still like are afraid to go to work, and people are still afraid of going out, supporting businesses. I mean, there's some examples that people who've taken the vaccines, when they're going to go out running in the Central Park, they use double face masks, and I'm like,
Right. Oh no.
what's going on, right? Yeah, and then the president still showing that. I mean, maybe he
Yeah.
should. This is just personal opinions about it, right? But maybe it's time to show that. Well, I've taken the vaccine, so I'm basically protected. There's nothing 100%, but really, what is? But I mean, so that's why that's usually obviously going to impact companies, yeah, like Beyond Meat, then when it's related to people actually going out. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
important.
exactly. It's big, massive mindset, isn't it? It's going to take from a mindset of normality to going into the pandemic, which took a while to kind of get accepted, especially in the UK. For a while, we were very slow to accept actually using masks for a very long time. I think when the pandemic hit, which was February March time, I think it wasn't until June time that we actually then we brought in masks. So it was even a 3 months period until then, until when it came that you had to wear a mask when you went into stores and everything like that.
Mm.
And then to move out, same again to move out of it. Everyone's for a while. If everything gets lifted, everyone's still going to be like, "I'm 2 meters away from you." There's still going to be that kind of little bit of adjusting, and I even think it to myself, I can't imagine going to a football match or going to go see a band or something and then being like shoulder to shoulder with someone that I don't know. I think it's been a while since that's happened, and even,
Yeah.
even I can think about it. Not that I'm conscious about going out and going back to normality,
No.
but just that kind of, it's just so strange, and
Of course, of course.
it will
But
take a while to adjust to it.
my reality has probably been quite different from a lot of people because I'm a teacher, and we're not going to go too much into Sweden and the way we've handled the pandemic. I know that on an international scale, we've actually been really known because we didn't shut down our society very much comparatively to any other
Yeah,
country. We were pretty much like let's this become a herd situation, enough people getting it, then we'll develop some form of immunity to some extent until we get the vaccines. And so, um, I think it's a double-edged sword the way we handle it. I'm not sure what I feel at the moment, but that meant that basically our schools have been open almost the whole time. We had like a 2-3 week situation. When it came to the upper secondary level, you guys call it upper secondary level, right?
Yeah,
After primary
secondary
school,
school. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm actually an upper secondary level teacher, but right now I'm working with from fourth to ninth grade with students, and when it comes to primary schools, from year 1 to 9 or something like here in Sweden up to 16 years old, uh, because that is obligatory school, right? It's something you have to do in Sweden by law. So they didn't shut them down almost at all, which meant that
Mm.
I've been working with 200 kids basically
Yeah,
daily since the whole situation. And
mm.
in the beginning, I stood in my classroom. I'm like, okay, I'm here. If you want something, raise your hand, say it out loud. I will tell you from here. And it's basically,
Yeah, yeah,
and don't come close to me. And then you have some students, they're like, usually in Sweden, anyways, being a teacher is very feminized. It's mostly women. So when you have male teachers,
Mhm.
then you get another connection, and students want to come and hug you, and I'm like, no, it's like go away right now. But eventually, you just realize, I mean, they're kids, right? So you be sitting beside them, and I tried
Yeah,
not to though let them come and hug me now and stuff like that. It's too bad that it's like
yeah,
that. But my situation has been very close with the students anyhow, and people
yeah, yeah,
constantly. So for me, it's been hard to. I've been taking it very serious the way, because during my private time I won't go out socializing with friends before. Anyways, that's starting to change a little now. But especially summertime, we know that the pandemic usually cools down with the heat and everything in these parts of the world, anyways. But yeah, so for me it's been kind of difficult. But yeah, I kind of moved away from what we were talking about here. So like you said, they're the industry leader, right? So what do you feel about the deals they've been making, like with McDonald's, PepsiCo, the Yum brands? And Yum brands, that's basically three, like Pizza Hut, KFC, and Taco Bell, right? And these
yeah.
are, my understanding, they're on an international scale. So what do you feel about those deals?
Yeah, I think, the deals that you would want them to do, they are doing them deals. I think sometimes when these deals are announced, sometimes people go, oh, well, next Q1's going to be absolutely amazing. And then don't realize these deals take a while to build up.
Yeah.
You got to trial the products and everything like that and try it at different locations, see what works. And I think, they haven't just fluked getting all these major deals. There's a reason why they've got all these major deals. A lot of these companies know the product's good. They know that they need to develop and move more into the vegan range as well, moving forward. And yeah, I think that these deals are massive, but they are deals that probably won't show for a while yet. But
Yeah.
from what we can see, pre CV situation, the
Mm.
food service was doing very well. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and it is surprising. I've been saying that often on the channel, that I don't think people understand how huge these deals are. I mean, first of all, PepsiCo is the second largest food company on the planet. I think they have like a market cap of $200 billion. Having a deal with them, that's basically the best deals you can have. And what I find interesting is that they're talking about making also snacks, and healthier snack alternatives, but also some kind of um, liquid drinkables. And I'm like, plant-based drinks. And I'm like, I mean, what could that be? I mean, because let's face it, soda pops and Coke, PepsiCo's 7 Up. I mean, that's vegan anyhow, so they don't need
yeah, yeah.
them for that. So I can only imagine that, could they be talking about dairy alternatives? Because if that's the case,
Yeah, yeah. That's a good
that
point.
that would be super huge, right? I mean, beyond milk, beyond yogurt, beyond cheese. I mean, what kind of, yeah, the possibilities there seems endless.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, when I saw that, I was like, "How's this actually going to work?" Like, I don't know. We're going to have like a green Pepsi bottle with like that could be something they're looking to move into. But yeah, I totally agree with the brand deals. People don't realize McDonald's. Young Brands. I think that I can't remember exactly what theirs is, but theirs is what the amount of stores that they have. I think there's like 20. It's like 20,000 Pizza Huts.
Let's see. I'll check here on the.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I remember
So
looking at. I thought
pizza.
McDonald's is a massive one, and then I remember, and I thought, I wonder how many Pizza Huts there are. And then I looked and went, wow, I didn't realize there was that
Eight,
many.
yeah, 18,700 worldwide,
Oh,
just Pizza Hut. And then what
it's
about
massive.
yeah, that's insane. And then McDonald's. Then let's see uh, if they have it here. Obviously, that
I'll go.
do you see what I see here now?
30,000. No.
So, but how many stores? Let's see how many locations. Let's see if it says something here. Not sure how accurate this is. Obviously, something like global food service operator franchise total of almost 40,000.
40,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean,
Sheesh.
that is pretty large, right? That is pretty large. So I mean, and then obviously Taco Bell and then KFC, right? I mean, that's going to be. So I mean, if it's on an international scale, which it is supposed to be, and people are like, not for me, like if you're not investing in this company, I mean, I understand. Obviously, it looked a lot better. Was it 1-2 months ago when it was around $100? We had this
Mm.
really fun thing on my channel that it was some subscribers who said, I'm going to invest in this company when it's because it was around 100, 104, right? I'm going to invest in this company when it's around $10. And I was like, $10, really? And I had to make like a shorts on that, talking about it. Not to be disrespectful to that person, but I basically, because I made a video a couple of months ago where I actually sold my car and started leasing a car, and I felt like that money that we got from the car, instead of paying off a loan on that, I want to use that money. So I put that on in Tattoo Chef and Beyond Meat, because that's how dedicated I am, right? Uh, but then I said, when this guy said to $10, then I just said, okay, if that actually happens, I'm going to sell my house. It's like, and put that all on Beyond Meat, because I mean, I cannot see that happening anytime soon. So
I mean, $10. I mean, they must have I don't know. They must have fallen off a cliff, and they must have. I don't know. It's just not going to happen.
no, I could see that happening either. But I would. But obviously, $100 was a perfect opportunity to invest. But it's always the case with me. I don't know why the stock gods or stock market gods hate me or something, because every time I started investing, then more. Just before, around 140, $150, and then it went down to 100. I didn't have any more money, and then next time I wanted to invest more, it was up to 150 again. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" It's like,
Yeah.
but so that, I don't know. Do you have that situation at times?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes you think, oh, this is it. It's not going to go much lower than this, and then it goes down, and you're like, what? How is this going down?
Yeah,
It's always like the thing is, when everything seems to go down, it's not just the one thing. It's always like 3 or 4 stocks, and you're like, oh, do I buy that one? Do I buy this one?
exactly.
It's like the candy store, isn't it? You just don't know what to do. But
But
yeah.
but
I mean, it's
but from a valuation perspective, I understand that when people, because it seems to be quite often, and in my channel anyways, that either you're a Tattoo Chef investor or you're a Beyond investor, right? And most younger investors anyways seems to be Tattoo Chef, because they keep saying that's going to be the next, it's going to destroy Beyond Meat, basically, kind of thing. I also try to get people to understand that these 3 deals, like you said, it takes time. It's going to be, they said, we're going to start seeing it maybe in the end of this year. So we're not going to see those kind of revenues for a long time, right? But that actually gets me going then to want to see, so Beyond versus Tattoo Chef, right? So because I do think that there's been so many people, like, I wasn't surprised off when I came out with a video a couple of days ago. Should you go Beyond or Oatly? And I had that discussion. I basically said, well, you could be in both. Basically, if you want to cover the whole market, then you have the whole dairy market, the dairy alternatives, and then you have the meat alternatives market. You're good to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
And then people said what they thought, this and that, or both, blah, blah, blah. And obviously, I expected that to happen. Tattoo Chef will be better than both of them. It's like it's like, yes, I respect that. I was waiting for that. And but so if it was, it's not a fair comparison, but what do you feel if you put them up against each other? Beyond Meat and Tattoo Chef, just to make it interested. Like
well, you're making me pick like a favorite child here, aren't you? It's so difficult to do this sort of stuff, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I would say I've noticed so much recently. Like it's just so much like you're either Tattoo Chef or Beyond Meat, and I've seen people like going, "Oh, I'm selling my Beyond Meat to go buy Tattoo Chef." Like there's these, it seems like you can only have one of them, and I just look at them going, just both. They're both kind of they're doing the thing. They're not really competing against each other.
No.
I'm a big fan of both of them. There's part of me now that's kind of gone and. Recently, I'm not sure if you've seen much of it, but I've also seen a lot of other YouTube content creators that used to own Beyond Meat and have come out and said they're selling Beyond Meat and they're putting that money into Tattoo Chef.
Yeah,
and I've seen quite a few of them do that as well. And there's part of me now that like looks at Beyond Meat and I'm like, I just want Beyond Meat to do really well just to kind of prove a point that you shouldn't have sold it. Both of them. I should have, but there's a part of me going, I want Beyond Meat to do slightly a little bit better because then it proves a point. But no, I think they're both really good companies. I think Beyond Meat's on a massive dip. It's the bigger company. I think Tattoo Chef. I do see more potential in Tattoo Chef. I think just because I've caught that at such a early evaluation, while it's worth 1 million, where Beyond Meat's worth 8 billion. I think when you look at Tattoo Chef, it's just such a early stages company, whereas Beyond Meat is still early stages, but they are international scale now, and they're closing in on the 1 billion mark. So it would be a different story if you're talking about this. They're at the same sort of stages. So I think Tattoo Chef has that little advantage, but I still think that I think they're both great companies. If I was to pick one, I do think Tattoo Chef will probably outperform Beyond Meat, but I still want Beyond Meat to do very well.
But when you say outperform, do you mean outperform as how many X we can get on the stock, or do you mean like revenue wise, or?
I think outperform on the share price wise is Tattoo Chef. I think just because such a 1.7 billion market cap company will probably get to 1 billion. If we talk Beyond Meat is what, 400 million, 500 million, and that's 8 billion valued, for example. So I think share price wise, I see Tattoo Chef outperforming Beyond Meat, but I think Beyond Meat has the potential to be putting in. I think Beyond Meat will get to 1 billion revenue way before what Tattoo Chef will do, and I think they will probably will. But the problem is when you talk about Tattoo Chef, their price to sales ratio at the moment, I can't remember what exactly it is, but it's
9,
single
10,
digit or around 10. Beyond Meat's 22, so you're already thinking Beyond Meat is a little bit more richly valued than what Tattoo Chef is. But like I say, I think they're both great companies, and Tattoo Chef, you talk about they have these brand deals with. Like Kroger, which I think is like 2,000 stores. Beyond Meat are getting deals with McDonald's that are 33,000 stores. So the levels are different. I can't ever see Tattoo Chef ever having deals like that. The only way you get deals like that is Beyond Meat.
Yeah, I think so, because I think on a global scale, the brand is at the moment, and I think it will keep being the market industry leader, right? Because the brand in itself has existed, I think, 11 or 12 years. And it's so strong, the name in itself. Even though I feel that Tattoo Chef's brand in itself is amazing, and I think it's a genius way of creating a product to begin with, and it's going to be there for a long, long time.
What do you think, Tattoo Chef or Beyond Meat on share price performance? Who are you backing?
I wasn't expecting that to be thrown back at me. So I'm joking. No. Actually, well, there's a reason why I'm actually going halfsies on both of them right now. I'm basically invested as much in both companies and keep doing that right now, almost like I'm hedging it, right? If one would actually go a little further down, the other will keep coming up. But I actually do see them both as, I don't know, that might sound extreme and trying to hype it, but actually the way I look at it, again, from 20 years as plant-based eater and everything I've read about where the plant-based market is going, I I can see both of these companies from where they're at doing a 10x in the next decade.
Yeah.
Definitely, I can see that as a possibility. And I don't know why people would think that's out. I know people think like, oh, the valuation is crazy and stuff like that. But again, you do pay more for a company that is disrupting an industry, right? It is worth more on paper in that way. And people constantly say, that Tattoo Chef will be the new or next Beyond Meat. What if they're starting making some meat alternatives now on their pepperoni pizzas, and they have, I think, a bolognese, a pasta bolognese thing, right? But I think I asked the question and said, well, what about if Beyond Meat moves into the frozen section? Or, I mean,
Yeah.
with that kind of branding, right, that is known internationally, I think that would be a bigger threat in one way to Tattoo Chef than if that happened. I still think there's plenty of room for both, so I'm not worried that way. So, and also, when it comes to the meat alternatives, I don't think Tattoo Chef will have a chance there in the next decade anyways, because this is basically what Beyond Meat has been doing for 11 years nonstop. That's the whole thing. I mean, yes, Tattoo Chef has so many more SKUs right now than Beyond Meat, right? But that's because Beyond, the only thing, basically like the Tesla story, the only thing they've been doing is perfecting their product, right? They have about 200 researchers, scientists that is working on this daily to perform, making a better burger. They're on the version 3.0 now, right? And they're not, like we talked about, they're not, sorry.
So I was just going to say as well is that people sometimes don't realize that is that Beyond Meat is just going to carry on developing the product and it's just going to get better.
Yeah.
And you got to realize that's what's going to happen over the next 5-10 years.
Exactly.
And as well, with like Beyond Meat is the pricing structure. One of the big criticisms of Beyond Meat right now is the pricing structure is just way too high. But what you've also got to consider is over the next few years, that pricing is going to get lower and lower and lower. And then if you get to the point where it's like with a beef product and it's the same price, then the question goes, do you choose the beef product or do you get the Beyond product if they taste the same or one of them even tastes better? And people don't realize that development process will happen over the next 5-10 years.
Exactly, because that's what Ethan Brown, the CEO, has been saying so many times. That's why people find it funny probably that I compare Beyond Meat with Tesla. But I feel like Beyond Meat is basically in the plant-based sector what Tesla is in the EV sector. They're the industry leader, and this is their whole thing. That's why I don't think anyone will be able to compete with them, because they put about 10 to 15% of their revenue on R&D, right?
Yeah.
And companies that do that and then keep putting money into new facilities, now building up 2 facilities in China, 1 in Holland. I think they're going to have 1 more with time there. And they built a new facility, I think, in Pennsylvania. I mean, they're building out their facilities there. I think they're going to have some form of vertically integrated business with time more and more too. So I think when they're ready, they're just, you're going to shoot out those products, be the better product. Like you said, 2 to 3 years ago from now, Ethan, and they're keeping online with what they promised 2 years ago, that within 5 years, they're going to have a cheaper product than meat. One of their products are going to be cheaper than meat. And for me, and that's going to be another 2.5 years from now. And he says they're on top of it. They're keeping with the time limit there. And that means that for me, that's going to be a game changer, because people I don't know if you've heard of, I might make a reaction video on that. What's his name? Sven Carlin, PhD. Yeah. So he basically slaughtered Beyond Meat. And
all right, I'll have to see this video.
Yeah, and he's interesting. He seems to have a total valuation mindset. That's his whole thing. That's, I think, why he calls himself Sven Carlin, PhD. It's a good name, I guess. It gets you into PhD. And he tried the product, and he's like, oh, it's disgusting. It's never going to sell. And I'm like, who cares what you think? You're one person. And he's a vegetarian, so he knows what he's talking about, according to him then. And then he said, like, you go to, I don't know, do you have Lidl in the UK?
Lidl, yeah.
So there's plenty of, and he brings up a good point. There's plenty of stores out there that has way cheaper burgers, right? Plant-based burgers than Beyond Meat. And this happens every time we have an interview. Mowgli, my cat. So, uh, and uh, and
I got to say, the worst thing about having like a white cat though is if you put a black top on.
Definitely. I mean, every time we have
that's why you've got a white.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, today especially because every time we put on clothes like jeans or whatever, and we go to work later, we're white everywhere basically. So but no, but so half the price in many products out there, right? Vegan burgers out there, and that's what he kind of said. Like, so why would you ever buy this? Well, I think he doesn't understand that they're moving into actually being way cheaper than that, right? So where they're at now and cheaper than meat. So, and I do think from a quality perspective, they're not targeting vegan brands, right? They're targeting the $1.4 trillion meat industry. So people talk about, well, it's in 10 years from now, it's going to be $140 billion industry, the plant-based sector. But they're already at the 10x market TAM possibility now. Because I've been vegan for 10 years almost, and not eaten meat for 20 years. So even at times, there's different versions of Beyond Meat. The one I buy in the store, the frozen section, I haven't tried version 3.0 though, but the other ones, the thick ones that are really red, and when you fry them, you get this blood sensation coming out of it. And not having eaten meat for 20 years, that doesn't really appeal to me. So I don't think they're not targeting me, right? They're not targeting me. They're targeting the majority of people who still eat meat, right? That's the people. That's the TAM possibility. And that's why I don't see, when you compare these different plant-based companies, they're not playing the same game here. So
yeah. Totally agree. Like you say, I think that the difference here is Beyond Meat is actually going for the people that eat meat, and can you convert them into not eating meat? And I think it's all different audiences, like you said, and I think that's like them little features that they've added in as well to make it more realistic to like meat eaters. And I think the big thing that is going to be for Beyond Meat in the next few years is when you go to the point of view of like, if you have a Beyond Meat product that is the same price as a beef product, why would you not choose the Beyond Meat product?
Exactly.
I think from the point of view is like, for the world, for the greenhouse gases and everything. I think when you think about the animals that have to be raised to go through this process to end up in that packaging, which is just as an animal lover, I just find brutal. It's just horrible myself, and that when you have that point of view is that you could have a product that is the same or even tastes better and it's the same price. I just think that will be the game changer when people actually look at that and go, which one am I going to get? And I think that will, affect people's mentality as well hugely. I think the big thing that overhangs Beyond Meat at the moment for me is the price, and once that's gone.
Exactly. So, and that's the whole Tesla situation too, that they're cutting prices every year, making their cars cheaper and cheaper. And their overall idea is to have a product within, I think, 2 years or something like that, a car that's going to be cheaper than ordinary petroleum car, like ICE car. So, and when that happens, that's going to be the game changer. People are going to be, why should I buy this now, right? And they'll have, today it already goes, I think, around 60 to 80, no, what I'm saying, 600 to 800 kilometers, right? When you're driving them. So, and imagine that doubling in a couple of years from now. So people won't have to worry so much about, the charging. And I mean, the superchargers goes like 80% in 20 minutes. First of all, I don't think most people are going to charge them out anyways. I mean, I have a electric car, and we charge it at home, right? So I don't think it's a huge issue. So that's what I think where they're headed. So basically,
exactly. And like you said on the point of Tesla as well, once again, you develop a product which increases the miles that range that they can do, how quick they charge. The product's exactly the same price. Once again, that's why Tesla's been so popular, I guess, and will carry on being popular. And the big thing once again for Tesla is the price, and
Yeah.
I'm sure the more you kind of have an affordable car, the more people will buy it.
Yeah, definitely. So before I move, we quit here. Then I thought that just two questions. One question from a subscriber is from my channel. Have you heard about the Very Good Food Company?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard about it
Mm.
last year, and I was going to start doing some like quick research into it, and I think the share price just went poof, and I went, right, that's it. I'm not going to waste my time looking on this company. I think it went up. I can't remember how much it went up, but it went up a lot. I remember it
Yeah.
went up a lot.
I went I
I don't
went
know if
into it when it was around $2 Canadian. That's when I put in most of my money into it, and then it went up to $9 in
right.
a couple of days or weeks. Something it went crazy quick.
Yeah, it was something crazy, and it was interesting to me. And then the price went like that, and I was like, "That's me, that's me done."
That's understandable. I mean, now it's down to around in Canadian dollars. It's around a four right now.
Right.
But the interesting part with that, from a PS ratio, it doesn't make sense at all, right? Because it is, I think, around 100 in PS ratio, because they got about 4.6 million in revenue for last year,
Right.
and now it's about 400 million in market cap. So it's pretty high, but they're making they have one facility now that they open up that's going to 37x their production capacity, and then another one that they're opening up in California, in the Patterson facility, that's going to be another 100 million, and because they only had, for when you look at the e-commerce site or their stores where they sell their products, well, there, especially the e-commerce, you had to wait from a year ago about 6 to 8 weeks to get the production, because people in Canada, it's a Canadian company, were crazy about this product, because when people talk about this, comparing it to other plant-based burgers out there, they really love this one, because it's basically a Whole Foods approach too. It's a lot healthier on paper than Beyond Meat and Impossible Burgers,
Right.
and people seem to love them. And what I find really interesting is they're so much larger on the digital platforms than Tattooed Chef. I mean, Tattooed Chef has about 30,000 on Instagram or something like that. This little company that is this little has 70,000 on Instagram now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and about 70,000 on Facebook. So they're, when it comes to how people love this product, it's crazy when you look at the reviews. So, and that is, they had a facility before, their original could only create like 1 million, about 1 million, 1.3 million in this meat alternatives per year. Now the one that opened up in Vancouver can go up to 37 million in production capacity. That's a 37x in production capacity,
Yeah.
and they feel that they're going to reach that probably within the end of the year, because they're making
Wow.
deals now all over the U.S. also,
Right.
and the production capacity in California facility is going to have about 98.5 million in production capacity when those open up, and obviously that's going to take a couple of years before they're selling that, but it does seem possible that they'll be selling for around 30 to 40 million pounds per year now in the year to come. So that would basically mean that they could probably get, within a few years, I would say within 2 to 3 years, maybe earlier, they could probably sell about 100 million in revenue, if not more, which would make, from the PS ratio today, down to 4. So this is the kind of company that's really way beyond, way before Wall Street, and so
Sounds like they're making the right moves, though.
yeah, it does. So now the what's his name? Jeremy has talked about him a couple of times, and Meet Kevin had an interview actually a couple of months ago with the CEO. So
Right.
So I do see them making, becoming really large with time. So that's why I asked about it, because one of my subscribers was like, well, can't
Yeah.
JKR, Jacob start making videos about them, getting
Yeah,
them.
well, you know what? With the share price drop and with what information you said, it does sound interesting.
Yeah.
Might be worth to give it the look that I didn't give it a few last year when it went and I missed it.
We can't
So yeah,
look at everything, right? So I mean,
the amount of stocks I go through in a week is just
yeah, I mean,
just crazy.
I get critique all the time now from subscribers who've gotten it for over half a year that, well, what about that? Because I'm basically only at the moment looking at plant-based companies, right? That's my whole theme, right? My whole niche. And people are like, well, you haven't covered that one. You haven't covered that one. I mean, there seems to be like 50 or 60 of them now, right? I mean, smaller ones here and there. And it's so many. And I never imagined when I started this channel in October that it could be so much to do. And right now I'm putting out about 5 to 7 videos a week. And my girlfriend told me yesterday that you're going to have half that if you want to survive, kind of thing. Like, and she was like upset with me.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Like, it's like I work as a teacher as well, and I do like 30 or 40 hours a week doing that. And then with the YouTube side of it, that's like another 30 or 40 hours a week. And
Exactly.
some of the weeks just, so busy. And I make six. I've given up Saturdays now. I've stopped doing Saturdays because I was like, this is way too much, 7 a week. So I've done 6 days a week. And then I do the Patreon, and then on the Patreon I do like 2 exclusive videos a week on there as well. So even though I'm dropping my amount down, I'm still doing 8 videos a week plus a full-time job. And it's trying to research companies, and then when it gets to earnings season and you have about 5 companies reporting on the same week, so I just don't have a lot of coffee and don't sleep. That's how I managed to get through it all.
That's what I keep telling people that too. When it comes to here in Sweden, a teacher is expected to work about at least 45 hours a week. It's because we're supposed to earn in our vacations. Like now I'm free about around 7 to 8 weeks now during summertime. So so we have to work that in during the week, right? And then, like you said, another 20 to 30 hours doing YouTube because it's not, you put out the 10-minute video and people are like, that's 10 minutes. And it's like, well, that's nothing. And they don't, they don't understand that it maybe is 3-5 hours, pre-work there, when it comes to some ideas and scripts, if you need scripts, and then research and and then editing.
If you do research on a new company that you've not looked before, and you look your team, what's the revenue, what's this, and they're the worst ones because they take a good 7-8 hours to kind of do all that research.
Oh yeah. So and
then you do all that and you record the video, and then the microphone doesn't work, and you're like, no, that's it, I give up. I'm not doing it anymore for a week.
Exactly. All right. So just the last question then. So about what's it, Cakebox?
Cakebox, yep.
Yeah. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the company. It's one that caught my eye a while ago. The share price has gone up a little bit since then. Looked into the company. The company was pretty much doing near kind of pre-CV pandemic numbers in the CV situation as they moved to a lot more like online, curbside pickup and everything like that. Yeah. I was like, well, if they're growing online there, that's really good. And then you imagine when they open up the stores, that's going to be great. Look at the company going, thinking what they're going to do further down the line. Further down the line, I think they plan to, I can't remember exactly now the numbers of stores they have, but they're going to look at doubling it in the next kind of 1-2 years. And then you're not even thinking beyond there. I think in general, I'm going to guess at, I think 150 stores they have or something. And then I think, well, that's still quite, they could achieve a lot more than that, because one of my other big investments on the UK side of it is Greg's. I think they have 2,000 stores. So you think, if they kind of get to a quarter of the size what they are, that's still a lot of upside from here. Yeah. And I thought, the management team's very good. The amount of stores are growing are very good. The plan they have to grow stores, I thought it's not a bad stock. The only problem I have is the valuation side of it. So I've bought a little bit now, and I'm kind of praying that it drops. And if it drops, then I can build it into a good position. If it doesn't drop, then I still have some shares that will do okay in the long term.
So I'm going to go into Yahoo Finance here. It's Cakebox.L, right?
Yeah.
Is it 320? What? That's it. Am I?
It's very confusing how they do the prices on the UK side of it.
All right. Okay. So it says it's
Yeah.
322. That pounds?
That's in pence.
All right. So
Yeah.
and let's see the statistics. So let's see the summary. Sorry, first here. So basically a market cap of 128 million. That's pounds, of course. Then yeah. PE ratio 42.95. That's pretty decent still for how long has this been on the market?
It wasn't. It was quite a recent IPO. I think they've only been on the stock market 2 or 3 years. I
Yeah,
want
it
to say.
says June 25, 18. Yeah. So
Yeah.
PE ratio of 42. When it's growth stocks, you don't usually see those low numbers, right? And then price. Wow, the price to sales is about 7.
Yeah, it's not a major. It's not got major growth behind it though. I think
No.
it's only going to grow at like 10% ish a year. So
Okay.
it's not anything on the lines of like a Tattooed Chef or a Beyond Meat.
All right.
Bit more of a value-ish play, I guess.
All right. So,
Yeah.
well, that's interesting. So, someone asked me, is it 100% plant based? And I don't think it is. I went in and looked at some of their products. It's they do have some vegan options though. My understanding was. So
Yeah. So mostly just cake products, and I think most of them are vegan products.
So no, that's pretty. That's something I might just look into for the fun of it, because it does seem really interesting. And like you said, even though it does have a pretty attractive PS ratio, like you said, it's maybe more of a growth opportunity, which is not a negative thing, right? So I'm guessing it's too early for dividends on this one.
I can't remember. I think they actually do pay a dividend.
Really?
I can't remember. Put me on the spot here.
Uh,
Let me have a quick look.
it says for dividend yield 1%.
Yeah.
Okay. So wow, that's pretty.
Yeah.
It's really surprising considering the low market cap here. So, well, that's something that. And before, I just want to remind people here again, guys, if you want to connect with Jacob here, take a look, subscribe to his channel. He is up here, right? And if you're interested in Tattoo Chef, Beyond Meat, he covers these, and Cake Box. And are there some others you would like recommend that you do cover a lot, other stocks?
Yeah, we'll cover quite a few stocks. We'll go through quite a few different options kind of every other week. So yeah, there's a lot of stocks. There's obviously the channel favorites like Tattoo Chef, Beyond Meats, a couple of other ones. We've been covering a lot of skills recently, which is quite a recent kind of SPAC that just merged last year. DraftKings is a big one of the channel. There's a few other little mini, fan favorites that we do talk about.
Awesome. Well, this is really fun, man, talking with you, and hope we can do this soon again.
Yeah, it's been great, Jesse. I have no idea how long we've been talking for, but
2 hours and 5 minutes.
Wow.
That was a lot to talk about for sure, and I think we should try to do this regular thing, and maybe with time we could bring in like Emmanuel, maybe someone else, and we had a larger discussion. And this program, we can actually be up to 5 people. I'm not saying 5 people should be here at the same time, but
Well, if you bring your cat and then we have someone else, then we're building the numbers up nicely.
And we actually have 2 cats and a dog. Okay. So yeah, we'll make it a family. So, all right, man. Really, thanks a lot, man, for coming here. And Mowgli here comes again saying thank you. Like,
knows what you're talking about.
So say bye-bye.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
Thanks, man.